following material may contain sex, coarse language, and violence.
It just seems, and then there's the future thing. It just seems I can never foresee all of the fallout from what I do. One day I'll tell you why that's ironic.
No. I don't think you can be held to task for the future thing.
Well,
I don't... Well, that's something I kind of struggle with. How responsible are you for the actions of alternate universe versions of yourself?
Well, I personally can't be. There's an alternative decision-making thing where it's clearly if an alternate version of myself made a decision that I didn't, I can't be held responsible, but at the same time, are we not the same person? I would say in the same way you can't be held responsible for the actions of your brother unless you have a power of attorney over him.
Well then, here's another one. How responsible can you be held for the actions you've taken in the past that you've learned from, moved on from, regretted, and repented of?
Well, according to modern social media, you should be held against you for all time, and there should never be any forgiveness, and no one can ever learn because everyone has always been perfect or imperfect forever.
Right.
But realistically speaking, it's like, isn't that what we call the learning process? Some people are always going to hold stuff against you. Like Soviet. Everyone's always going to hold it against her. There'll be some people who will never forgive her for that. And I can see their point. But on the other hand...
I mean... Which thing? The one where she...
blew up all the world's food.
Was...
killed me.
Right.
I still wish I knew more about that, but...
I think nobody hates the things Svetlana has done more than Svetlana.
How does she
Although
feel?
the food one was really dumb, because I told her not to do that.
Well, I mean, she isn't the smartest person. Maybe she, this might be a lesson in caution. Also, like, Global Storm Soviet didn't exist in your timeline, so everything is massively different now.
There was no, because Soviet wasn't alive, Brienne Peace didn't have a perfect scapegoat for his scheme, and it never enacted it. So the global warming crisis didn't actually happen either.
Oh, wow. So everything's going really well in your world, wasn't it? Until...
Well, right up until the moment the James Factor bomb went off.
Hey, we don't have that here.
Yeah.
Although I think we've also attracted the Imperium's attention. Do you think you're going to be finished with university by the time that rolls around? She doesn't say that, obviously.
Yeah, but like...
I mean, with the amount of time,
like...
time doesn't move, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you were at the start of the season, you're like, right, we're gonna fucking speed things up, and it's been like a month in universe. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Well, I need to get to the archaeologist convention at the end of the month to tie off the season.
Yeah.
So that will be, once they've finished their current action-packed, exciting storyline. Yeah.
The problem with the Imperium is that it's somewhat out of our hands to an extent. If Dr. Destructo is planning on trying to deal with it, there's you can add up a lot of people and not get to the amount of weight that he can hit for. You know.
Yeah, probably gonna have to deal with that at some point, right?
Dr. Destructo is Interesting.
No kidding.
I can't bring myself to think of him as evil or hate him.
Really? A lot of people don't have a problem with that.
I just don't think they understand his motivations. Not that anyone really does, but it seems like he's more driven by the pursuit of knowledge than any real material means. That everything he does is more of an attempt to gain more knowledge than to cause any real harm. And the harm is a consequence of the way he goes about it. I mean, he did kill all the world leaders, but I can't...
For a man who stated he intends to rule the world...
Well, I'm kind of an existentialist, so I don't really believe what people say. I believe what they do. And he doesn't seem to be acting in such a way that would give him ownership of the world.
Well, that's
Although,
if you interpret rulership to be ownership.
Well, he did destroy Mexico in my timeline.
I mean, is it really that much of a loss? No, I'm not going to say that.
Oh.
I mean, what did Mexico do?
Mexico was the battleground between him and Magneto.
Oh. Do I want to know who won?
We don't.
Oh.
Neither of them died. But Mexico's kind of became
Gone?
a big crater.
Oh, Lord. Oh, well, that's morbid. And we should probably get back before everyone starts noticing that it's morning time and then we come back into town.
Yeah.
Or she'll, like...
Be difficult to explain.
She'll, like, go behind the console thing and come back out, like, a few seconds later, just, like, dressed in her, like, little Chinese dress thing that she's been wearing.
That is so convenient.
It's less convenient. Breakfast is going to be big, right?
Isn't it always?
Good. Could be bigger. Anyway, we should get going. We wouldn't want people to talk.
No, I suppose not. Also have to explain where we were, I think, is the bigger issue.
Well, I could always just say that I went for a nature walk, and you can always say that you were, brooding on the shoreline, looking out into the deep waters. All mysterious and cool. Or you were sleeping with some local hoe.
I'm glad you think so highly of me. Moving on.
He said moving on, I'm trapped. You re-enter the town at night. Some watchmen are walking around. A local drunk is leaning against a tree, singing into the night. You were easily able to get back to your home with only one minor stealth check.
Oh man, that's a good one. What's my stealth score? 0. 16.
You think you've made it back without any undue attention.
Yeah.
You crawl into your bed and fall asleep. You wake up the next morning, having no dreams whatsoever.
No dreams. Oh. That's bad. Oh, that's real bad. Is this a new thing? Is this like the first time this has happened since I got to China, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
River stumbles into your room in a dressing gown with like a pot and a tray. Sits at your bed and just starts spooning little dumpling things out. She's like, "Look, I bought breakfast. I'm wonderful." You get 3 and she eats the rest.
Right.
And then she eats the pot.
Can You will not have to give that back.
It's my part.
Oh. Where did you get it?
I made it.
Oh.
That's why I need it back, you see. No, it isn't tasty, but I can turn taste off. Oh, how did you sleep? I slept awfully.
No dreams.
Oh, lucky.
No. Not dreaming is bad.
A lot of people don't remember their dreams.
They don't remember their dreams, but there is a sense when you wake up that you dreamt something.
Okay. Well, I've got some time while I'm finishing my meal. You can tell me what nastiness you think this portends.
Well, I assume it has something to do with the lake and the crying woman.
And of course,
Maybe just the lake. It can be whatever it wants, I imagine.
I don't know, so if that's true, and this is just my point of view, if I were a spirit thing, I wouldn't choose to appear as a mopey, weepy woman unless I had no choice. I'd be a T-Rex with lasers.
But T-Rex arms
Are
They can't do
surprisingly
anything with
powerful. Surprisingly powerful, sir. Besides which, I mean, if I'm going to be anything I want, I could just replace them with my own arms or something big.
Right. I just feel that the world has been reshaped to be designed to inhabit things that are roughly humanoid shaped, and being a T-Rex, I don't know would necessarily help you.
Well, look, if all I'm going to be doing is crying into a lake, then I can be any damn shape I want, and it doesn't matter.
Right. I think the woman crying into a lake is more enticing to a random human to approach and then be bewitched than a T-Rex with
How do we know it
lasers
wasn't
for eyes.
specifically tailored to you? How do we know something didn't sense you coming and was like, gotta be a hot woman?
Well, maybe. You could come with me next time.
The crying woman is of course also designed to engender your heroic nature and your sympathy as you would attempt to assist or help or rectify the problem. There's nothing that says that this has to be always the way it is.
That's fair. All of the spirits in the lake were men, though.
Ah, well, that does tend to. Ooh, I wonder what it would do to a woman. I will go with you next time. Anyway, I need to go get ready for work.
Yeah.
And so do you.
Yeah, they're very pleased with me at the moment, so there's just a lot of wheel spinning to decide what to move on to next happening right now.
Well, I've still got batches and batches of tests to run. And by tests to run, I mean I have to load up the machines and then watch them without falling asleep and then note down all the results. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I have something to do.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be very little chance of me being able to work into someone's brain who currently has it, so this is probably about as useful as I'm going to get.
Well, yes. I mean, other than the joy of having something to do, it is actually something worth doing.
Yeah. I think I like that. I realize a lot of my life has been not doing anything that helps others. Not that I intend to stop teasing my brother.
That just helps keep him grounded, I think. Doesn't let his head get too big with being the hero of America and
Anyway.
Programmer.
Anyway, I bought you the papers.
Thanks.
There's some papers coming. They're pretty old, but, you know, it should help keep you up. You can now look at the file. I'll just sit here while you read them.
Cold Rock's Post, Friday 15th, February 2013. New paper, a fraud.
Oh, wow.
Those reporters lost their APA card, and they're just a bunch of anarchists who hate America, hate you, and want to push lies, I think. So now we have that out of the way, we can all hear what responsible, established, award-winning, highly reputable mainstream media has to say. What the new paper won't tell you is that their so-called free press is founded on gambling! Immoral gambling! The press was given freely by the winner to a communist, and then the communists shared it with these frauds. Communism is founded on sharing, you know? So you have a bunch of probable communists trying to tell you what the facts are? That's suspicious, isn't it? Also, it's called the free press, but they charge money for it? Go on, try getting it for free. It's false advertising. And here in the good old US of A, we have a way, time-tested, true of dealing with hucksters, snake oil salesmen, and conmen. We used to hang them. Fucking Christ. Oh, this paper has clues in it, right? Anyway.
What are you saying? I don't know what you're talking about. How did you jump to that conclusion? You're a suspicious moron. Stop looking.
Right. Ultra Girl seen again with local hero Randall Randallson. Evil mutant Ultra Girl has again been seen in close company on Valentine's Day. Again with Xander Magruder, a nerdlinger who saved America. What does he see in her? Who knows? Ultra Girl seems to want to pretend she is a normal woman, yet claims to be dedicated to heroism. Ultra Girl let a full plane carrying pterodino scientists crash while on her date. She let a bank robbery attempt happen. She let a masked man shoot a grandmother, all while trying to sleep with a normal human man to spread mutancy. Mr. Magruder, please see through her deviancy. Don't date mutants, no matter how leggy and busty they may seem, no matter how much fun it is.
Got it.
Reporter goes berserk. Mutants blamed by Eric Rosarius. The nerd murders seem to be caused by a mutant who makes people murderous, as a reporter with KVBC, whilst trying to investigate this paper's scoop on the nerd murders, was overcome with violence and rage. While this is a new low for mutant crime, it would seem video games may only be a contributing factor. It is clear the mutant uses their power through video games to make people copy the violence in them. Currently, the only video game-based criminal is the gameler. So parents, please don't let your children play video games. Shut down the Archaeologist Convention and the video game camp, and make sure your children stay away from such violent video games as The Sims, Splitch's Undersea Adventure, and Lee Carvalho's Putting Challenge.
I had a lot of fun with these, you can tell.
Yeah. Oh, crap. By Ethan Williams. What the fuck, crap? Is a phrase many people might be uttering after a crap APC self-destructed in a downtown area, taking out a zoned apartment building and killing 7 people, injuring dozens. Unknown mutants are credited with the rescue of many and causing the explosion by attacking the APC. The crap remained silent on the matter, and you were doing so well. Oh crap. Why are women men now? By P. Busmit Smythe. I was taking my umbrella for a stroll in the downpour the other day, and I witnessed an illicit after-hours gathering at a local frippery store. Obviously, I did not go in, but those gathering did, no matter how much I harumphed and sniffed. One of the disreputable louts attending the secret gathering I had presumed to be a man in his log coat and powerful stance reminded me of myself in my youth. I was shorter, of course, not too much shorter though, perhaps even a little bit taller, but upon the removal of his coat, I was able to glimpse from my position behind the bin in an alley that it was unmistakably a woman, but a big woman with obvious muscles and short hair. Why do women feel the need to be men these days? Whatever happened to the days where men were strong protectors and women just let their natural sweetness shine through? Am I the only one who feels this way? Women, know your
limits.
Fazbear Mind's Scene of Horror by Jessica Prentice.
Local 60 team students went to the old mines to film a horror movie for a project. Sounds like a movie script itself, right? Well, it doesn't sound like a movie when one of them is a serial killer who has been killing students for years, and he lured them into the mines to kill them using animatronic puppets and furry suits. It was all going according to plan until Chief Break Everything interrupted, refusing to let the psychopath kill anymore, leaving us all to ask, why did he wait so long? Why did those earlier murders still need to happen? Either way, there are two grateful people still alive to salve the wounds of so many dead. Fun with Friends ends in community friendship by Elspeth Morgan. Gathering around the tailgate barbecue and watching the old ball game, tossing the pigskin around, is how insecure heterosexual males have bonded since the turn of the century. But how do unfit nerdlingers do it? They gather together and connect their machines together to play video games together, watch a movie and eat pizza. I was reminded of the simple pleasure of playing games with a friend and a bunch of other people I don't know. Making new friends and coming together over the common hatred of a movie and love of competitive games. Business owners, reporters, game makers, powerlifting gym rats, models, foreigners, and ordinary workers all came together to play games. Win or lose, we all had fun. A commonality between jocks and geeks. In a time of violence and nerd murders, perhaps we should all gather together and do something we love instead of pulling down statues, stealing, and being worthless people. If it's not perfect, don't burn it down. Love it for what you love about it and play video games. We huddled together in the flickering lights of the computer as the rain lashed at the city and the wind howled its descent, and we were all different and nobody killed anyone. Although the movie tried very hard, it gave me much needed perspective and should be a thing we do more often, all of us.
So for perspective, that's when they watched the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I guess. More Than Love is in the Air, Lannis felt. Huggable Werther's original, Anthony Smar, spent his Valentines with his currently toy Zvelti Ibirababa Xander Magruder, is mostly balls deep in vigilante whore. Ultra girl waggling around with her boobs and biceps. Bitch. Even DMV thought Miranda Lewis has a bunch of men running train on her. Probably. Meanwhile, real women have to stay at home and play with their cats. Right. It is time we start a public shaming campaign. So I have arranged a special braining of Trojans called Shame Condoms, which, like the white feather, could be handed out to those dating slutbag mutants or Russians. The object is, of course, just to prevent the biological warfare which dating mutants really is. Real women aren't moidles, boys. Real women don't need to puff out their chests with bolt-ons or lift weights or flaunt themselves at all. So when shame comes out, shame the degenerates in society. Does this one happen before Miranda walks into the bar, takes her boyfriend, and leaves? Is this before that?
I believe it is.
Alien siblings seek secrecy by Pelin Forgreen. Twin aliens have landed in Nevada seeking to help us, humanity, against their marauding father. Valeria and Valen claim to be the children of soon-to-be invading alien armies General Nunn. The exotic pair came to the newspaper believing it was an official government arm and had to be lectured on freedom and the First Amendment, also Fifth. They asked to be introduced to the government's officials as they wished to oppose their father's imperialistic cruelty. They asked their presence to be kept secret as the aliens may have access to some of our broadcasts. Naturally, we agreed. However, the public has a right to know, and the newspaper is not a broadcast. Phelan, the handsome one, explained that their culture has a tightly regulated citizenry and is highly authoritarian. We explained how democracy works, and they both seem enthused. While they are both in the custody of the government, they will be properly used. It's 2013. Do you know? Oh, it's cut. Oh, okay. The Free Press!
Wow.
Anti-mutant conspiracy. Biff Jetson. Recently, a DMV operation resulted in a heavy destruction of a building, an older building, topped with a church. That kind of building. But the question no one is asking is, why? Why was the DMV operating in that building, and why did it blow up? Some answers we can deduce. The DMV remit is very limited, implying that there was mutant-related activity within. City records tell us that the building was owned by the Catholic Church, and the church tells us that it was leased to a local community group, listed in the records as Pure Faith International. All above board, nice and legal, except that Pure Faith International is the paper-incorporated charity comprised of no real, alive human people at all. When researching the group, no record can be found No record can be traced to an actual person. One postal address was even a vacant lot, which before it was vacant was a bottling plant. No CEO or bursar can be tracked back to a person. In some cases, an in-depth check into the PFI's tax records, which are available as a charity, reveals the accounts used are filled whole cloth from Swiss account transfer notes, which is not illegal or wrong inherently, but is telling. What is also telling is a check into what this charity purports to do with its money. According to its charter, it promotes and implements an understanding into the sanctity of the soul and its inclusion for the inhuman, which must mean, based on what they actually do with the money, funding anti-mutant militant groups. Whether they are aware with it or not, large amounts of money, which can be traced to PFI expense accounts, have been found by DMV raids on militant terrorist anti-mutant groups such as Human First, Mutant Down, Subspecies Servitude Syndicate, and the Labour Party. Of course, this does not do more than imply complicity, but when combined with the DMV action which destroyed a building in town recently, you can form your own opinions. Of course, representatives cannot comment because they are not real people. Nerd crimes result in few deaths. Kathy Baxter. The so-called nerd murders have so far totaled approximately 3 deaths and nearly 50 thefts and fewer assaults. The compulsive method behind these crimes makes it clear that an outside force is responsible, be it influence, power, or chemical, and so far the purpose, if any, behind crimes cannot be discerned, nor the cause narrowed down, even by our recently restored detectives. We must ask ourselves, are they directed, or is this some form of random brain programming through flashing lights in video games, or criminal impulses from an unknowing mutant? In any case, the nerd murders is an inappropriate term only used to sensationalize and misdirect fear. A much more suitable appellation would be the impulse crimes. Yeah, but it's only nerds, though, right?
Yeah.
Slavery still exists, by Buddy Flair Gibson. Many places in the world lack America's constitution, and more frighteningly, still allow slavery. Many of the African tribes which sold slaves back in the bad old days still sell slaves now, and they aren't the only ones. Even jolly old England allows the ownership of slaves as long as they are mutants. The sad news for all of us is that slavery still exists here in America as well. We pretend that it doesn't. We ignore the injustice. People are taken from our streets and sold into slavery, shipped offshore in crates like so much government FUD. Missing persons departments are chronically underfunded, and the FBI refuses to follow up on strong leads to these slavery syndicates. No one is trying to stop this, and no one is asking why. The same research which shows very well-known Saudi servant exchange making discrete payments to American export companies, which shows payments to said exchange by American companies with overseas factors in mind, alarms anyone who reads it. But not our governor, but not you and Running Deer. Perhaps if the public were to make enough noise, there could at least be an investigation. Strange Killings by Albus Potniger. Someone in Cold Rocks has been ripping people's spines out. This results in death most of the time, and this time is no exception. Over the last few weeks, several murder victims have been found sans skull and sometimes also spine. The police, newly redetectived, have blamed Satanist occult paganism, or something similar. However, this is not the first time it has happened. Once in 1987 in Central America, and again in 1997 in Los Angeles. In both instances, scattered reports of skinned people, both with skulls removed and spinal avulsion, have been reported. One fragment of a police report indicates Lieutenant Michael Harrington was tracking the serial killer, but was removed from duty after he assaulted a government official. We cannot track down or verify this report, nor can we track down the officer of interest. Of interest is the fact the only witnesses of the Central American killings have also disappeared. So far, there are no witnesses, but the serial killer might have been operating for some time and has clearly honed his craft. So far, police have no comment. The next one is Government Census Free Press, but it's cut off, so I only have 3 lines. That's intentional. I'm done.
Yeah.
Government Census Free Press, Kay Lindemann. The fear of a well-informed people has caused the local state government to consider implementing a censorship board. Their purpose would be, the government said, to...
I'm glad you picked up on that.
Yeah, well, because the thing is, I read, the last thing I read was the title. I read the title when I read it out loud, because I was, like, scrolling down And when I got to the bottom on the left side, I was like, oh, it's cut off there. I missed things. And then when I read the title, I'm like, oh, I should have read this in my head because now I look like a dipshit.
I mean, that's intended. Like, so you get that aha comedy reaction bit.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
River's like, wow. Our papers still haven't caught up to my brother receiving a medal in front of everyone. Like a big hero.
And defeating Dr. Destruct.
I mean, to be fair, he did technically do something like that.
Sure, for sure. This alien siblings thing. So this went arse up, right? Like they told people where the aliens were.
I mean, I can't imagine it did anything but that, right? So I'm guessing when we next hear of them, they'll be dead.